Welcome back everybody, or welcome to if it's your first time tuning in. Today I'm out on my KTM Super Duke 1290R, giving it a little run because I've just come back from the Isle of Man TT 2025 and try and cobble a video together. I'm not in a talking mood, so this is about the fourth attempt to do this video. I filmed my trip on the 2025 Isle of Man TT, posted pretty much every day on YouTube. And there's been quite a few comments, questions and things like that, so I thought, you know what I'll do, like a TT summary, my experiences of the TT. I might be able to give you a few hints and tips if you're planning to do the TT in the future, or you're just curious to know what I've done. And I'll also go into the costings and stuff as well, so if that's something of interest, then stay tuned. The TT is on the last week of May, first week of June. It's on for 2 weeks every year, and it is pretty much a worldwide event. It attracts people from literally all over the globe, and I think I spoke to most of them on my week on the Isle of Man. There's a few choices you can do. A lot of people will go on about in the comments quite negatively saying it's expensive, oh, it's too expensive, you get ripped off, I'm never going to do that, it's blah 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 blah. They're going on about the money, but what you've got to realise is that whenever there is a big event on, you're going to get charged more. I mean, you're not going to go to, I don't know, Glastonbury. You're not going to go to Glastonbury for 100 quid. It's going to be many hundreds of pounds. You're not going to see a Premiership football team for 20 quid a ticket. It's going to be a lot more than that. It's a supply and demand thing. Everybody kind of knows that. So you either pay the money or you sit at home and moan about how expensive it is, wishing you were there. So there's a few ways of not so much getting around the cost thing, but there's a few things to consider when you're planning, when you're budgeting for the trip. We've all got a certain amount of money to spend. I'm no different to everybody else when it comes to that. So what I decided to do is, when I looked at it, I decided I was going to go on practice week. Now there's a few reasons why I choose practice week. The first reason, I'll get to the cost in a minute. The first reason I like practice week is because it is quieter. It's still busy. Hello mate. It's still busy, but nowhere near as busy as race week. So the advantages for me on practice week is the fact that I can choose a spot to watch the race in, and I pretty much know that I'm going to be not 10 people deep, so you can't really see what's going on unless you stand on a stall. So that's the first thing. Also, the traffic is not as bad because it's not as busy, obviously. So getting to foresaid location to watch the race is a lot easier on practice week. And it goes on and on and on. You go in a pub, you're going to get served a lot quicker. You go in a restaurant, you might get a table. You know, you queue at the burger van and you're going to get served before you get, you know, you die of starvation, that type of thing. So there's a lot of that going on. Also with the practice week, they tend to shut the roads around about 5 o'clock in the evening. So for me, because this is my holiday, I want to see racing, but I don't want to see racing every day for, you know, from 9 in the morning to 9 at night. I'm not interested in that. I want to see it for, like, you know, a couple of hours. So basically they shut the roads at 5 o'clock in the evening. Racing normally starts about 6. They do shuffle things around because of the weather. I mean, we all know what the weather's like on the Isle of Man. So 6 o'clock, roughly 6 o'clock, the racing will start, and it finishes about 9 o'clock and the roads open at 9:30. So in my tiny brain, that says to me, I've got all day up until 5 o'clock to go and explore the island, go and have a look at a different town, have an ice cream on the beach and fish and chips, that sort of thing. I like to go and explore, so I can go and explore in the daytime and then plan where I'm going to sit, get there for before the road shut, for, you know, for 5 o'clock. So that suits me fine. Now it gets down to the price. For practice week, the ferry from Liverpool to Douglas cost me £150. So that's £150 for me and my GS with my tent on the back. If I was to go on race week, it was going to cost 300 I think it's 320, it might have been 340. We'll go with 320, so it's double and a bit. So it's double the price to go on race week. Also the accommodation, you're going to struggle to get accommodation as well. Most accommodations booked up. In the people that are in the hotels and the B&Bs and the homestays and everything else, they normally leave a deposit when they're there for the following year, so it's very difficult to get any accommodation when you're there. So what is the alternatives? Well, the alternatives for me was camping. To be honest, I'm not bothered about staying in a hotel because I want to do it as cheaply as possible, and I don't mind camping. I've been camping all my life on and off, so I'm quite happy even in the rain to sit in my tent. It doesn't bother me at all. So for my camping on Onchan campsite, I've done a video on Onchan campsite, so if you want to know where I've stayed, it'll be in the Isle of Man TT playlist, just have a look. But a quick summary of that, it was £15 a night for me in the tent. For that you get a pitch for yourself in the tent. There's like a clubhouse stroke, you know, canteen area, which is quite big. It's got everything in there. There's meals that you can get, all day breakfast. There's a lot of other different meals you can get for the evening. They sell drinks in there. There's a pool table, a TV, there's free Wi-Fi, there's shower blocks, there's toilet blocks, hot and cold water 24/7, and a few other bits and bobs, mainly for kids, that are on there as well, so if you're with a family. But again, look at that video if you want more details on that. So for me, £150 ferry, £15 a night, stay for 1 week, like I say. So that was the main purchases, the main outlay of money that I had to outlay for my week on the Isle of Man. Other things I spent as well, because I'm in my tent, I tend to do a lot of cooking myself. So up the road from the campsite is a co-op. If you go to restaurants, you will pay more during TT fortnight. If you go to Tesco's, which is on the island, or there's quite a few co-ops dotted around, like I say, there's one in Onchan Village, which is literally a mile from the campsite. If you go there, the prices are the prices, they don't inflate them for the TT. So I just basically bought some things to cook on my camping stove. I didn't do that every night, admittedly, and I didn't do it for breakfast. I tended to buy a breakfast. I tended to buy a breakfast at the campsite. They do a full English breakfast with a cup of tea for a tenner, which I didn't think was too bad. I mean, you'll pay that sort of money in the UK on a normal Sunday run on a bike in a biker's cafe. You'll pay 10 or 12 quid for a full English. So yeah, the campsite prices seem really reasonable. So basically, if you want to go and you want to do it on the cheap, then go practice week, because it's a lot cheaper to get there. And if you can stomach camping, camp. Take a tent on the back of the bike, and it'll cost you 15. Well, I can't speak for the rest of them, but it cost me £15 for the campsite per night. Another side note with the camping as well, on my campsite in Onchan, the guys there, they've got their own tents, the guys that run it. So they're really big tents that you can literally walk in without stooping down. They're pre-erected for the TT, and they have a big blow-up mattress in there. You get a proper quilt, proper pillar, so there's more luxury, and you don't have to lug your tent and pitch it and take it down when you're finished. So that is a slight upgrade to what I do. Now I wasn't sure on the prices when I done my video on the campsite, but I did have a look, and I'm still not sure, to be honest, and here's why. It says they're pre-erected tents, £40 per person per night. Okay, so those tents are supposed to be 4 berth. I mean, if it says 4 berth, you get 2 in it really, unless you're really ultra friendly. So I'm thinking to myself, if there was one of you in there, is your £40 now 80, or is it 120 if you're fitting 3 in it? I don't know, I don't know the answer, to be honest with you. it's definitely worth asking if you're considering using one of their tents. It will be a cheaper option than going in a hotel, that's guaranteed. Plus you're probably not going to get a hotel as well. So I think I spent about £100 on food when I was there, a rough sort of figure. But bear in mind, I'm on my own, I don't drink, so I'm quite sad really, aren't I, when you think about it. So yeah, I only spent roughly about £100, and that was mainly food from the co-op, a couple of meals in the campsite canteen. Coming from Northampton, I spent about 80 quid on fuel. Whoops, I got my high beam on and I've got my frigging indicators on. I spent about 80 quid of fuel. That's to get from Northampton to Liverpool, ride around the island for a week, and then ride back to Northampton from Liverpool. So that was about £80. So that's £150 for the ferry, another 100 just over for food, that's £250, and then another 100 for the campsite, 105 I think it works out, 350, 355, whatever. And then £80 for fuel. What's that? 350 for 430. 430. So I spent roughly £430. So if you say 450, so for 450 quid roughly, I mean I haven't, you know, write everything down to be honest with you, it's just off the top of my head. For £450 I think that's really reasonable. So when you get a lot of people saying it's a rip-off, bear in mind I'm paying inflated prices for Isle of Man. But you say you're paying inflated prices, when you go to an event like British Superbikes, MotoGP, whatever, you pay to get through that gate. You're paying to get through that gate and watch the race. I'm basically not paying to watch the racing. Okay, you can argue the fact that the ferry is expensive and everything else is expensive, but you don't have to buy a ticket to watch the race. You just literally stand by the side of the road wherever you decide to stand on the 37 3/4 mile course, and you watch the race. So it's no extra money. I say there's no extra money, there is a slight, however. There always is, isn't there? If you decide to sit in one of the stands, there's a few little grandstands dotted around the course, so if you want to sit in one of them, it's like, you know, a £5 or whatever they charge you. And the Cregnabar pub, there's a big car park next to it, because the pub's not very big, so it'll be full up within 10 minutes. So there's an overflow car park across the road, and there was a charge, I think it was £4, maybe £5 to park a car or bike in there. That didn't apply to us on practice week, so I can only assume they didn't charge me, that they were just charging for race week. So there are other little things that you can factor in, but overall I don't feel hard done by at all. I'm quite pleased with the prices that I paid. I don't bother sitting in the grandstand, I can't see as it's a great advantage. The one at the Cregnabar is okay, you're slightly higher up, but to be honest I don't really want to be slightly higher up. There's a grandstand there and I can stand on the grass there. I've got just as much good view as what he has. So, you know, you pay your money, you take your choice basically. There's one more thing as well which I was going to say, is that my phone didn't work this time on the Isle of Man. All the previous years, which has been about 4 or 5, my phone's worked. My phone's been fine. This year it didn't work. As soon as I got off the boat it didn't work. Basically the short story is, I went to the Manx Telecom in Douglas, and I had to buy a SIM card for 10 gigabyte of data or whatever it was for a tenner, and it worked. Never had no trouble. I've not changed phones, not changed networks. It's just that something's happened and with Vodafone. A couple of people on the YouTube comments have said that their Vodafone does work over there. I've got a business contract, so maybe that's why, I don't know. But a few other people on the campsite were saying, oh yeah, mine don't work, my mate's works but mine don't work. We've had to buy a SIM card as well. So it's probably best to check it out with your service provider, or just risk it and buy a SIM card when you're there, which is a slight pain in the backside, but nothing major. It's just one of those slight irritations. So anyway, if anyone's got any questions, queries or helpful tips, that would be great if you leave them in the comments. And on that note, if you got to the end, I do appreciate, as usual, you all watching my videos. And if you want to, subscribe. If you don't want to, then don't subscribe. I mean, it's up to you, isn't it? If you do subscribe, all you got to do is just go click, and it doesn't cost you nothing. I mean, you know, not that I'm begging, but you know. Anyway, thanks for watching, boys and girls, and everybody else in between, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.